Welcome to episode 10 of Quadocast, entitled The Catania Patriot and Correcting the Record. So a neighbor asked me to correct the record, and asked me to correct that record really very early in the morning, and basically threatened if I don't correct the record, he'll do whatever he can to eliminate the videos I make. I guess that neighbor's not a fan of free speech, unless it's his own. Well then, let's correct the record now, shall we? Yesterday morning, before 7 a.m., I get a text from a board member, a rec board member from Catania. And he writes regarding the video on Inauguration Envy. You know, the one that Lewis sold out and used the association name to back the event, so those who wanted it didn't have to pay $500? Well, Mark, the Catania board member on rec, wrote, "Eric, you must be misinformed. It's a rec event that 400 owners requested." No shit, that's the point of the video, that it is a rec event and shouldn't be. And that's where his first lie starts. He claims 400 owners requested the event. Bullshit. Go ahead, Mark, prove that. Sure, his magic number came from quick math. 810 unit owners divided by 2 is around 400. I am starting to lose count of the number of liars we have on the board. Okay, let's move on. This is where it gets interesting. Then he says, money for the social hall are coming from money that was left over from the 2 different New Year's parties. Are you fucking kidding me? If you take what he wrote at face value, not only are they getting out of not paying $500, they're starting to use association money. Well, something like that will be easily verifiable from the office. So it's either true or he's just talking out his ass. Then he offers an opinion that I can't help myself and I'm dividing the community because it makes me happy. We'll address that later. Then he goes on to claim that he initiated the whole thing with the entertainment committee, which is odd. I didn't even know we still had one. I think there's like one person on the committee. Great. Then he repeats, with close to 400 owners requesting to celebrate an American president. Then he goes on to say we wanted to include MLK Day, but we couldn't because it's a federal holiday. Let's see. I wonder what federal holiday it was. Oh, that's right. It was MLK Day. Well, so far he's holding true to talking word salad out his ass. He goes on to say you should have done a little research, maybe called him before I put out a rant on YouTube. Meanwhile, reminder, he is writing this as a direct text like 6:45 in the morning. Are you freaking kidding me? Then he goes on with his crybaby ultimatum. Now, if I'm not willing to correct myself, he still failed to point out what was incorrect about the video. It was a spot-on assessment, especially now in hindsight. But then claims he'll never share any of my videos anymore. Big whoop. And he'll do whatever he can to eliminate them from this platform. Coming from the guy who thinks he has a monopoly on free speech. It's a shame how I rant about something this patriotic. Now he's talking like he has a monopoly on patriotism too. You know, the interesting thing, Mark, did you ever use a social hall for Memorial Day or Labor Day? Or how about even Veterans Day? That would have been mighty patriotic of you. And then here's the kicker out of nowhere. This is before 7 in the morning and he goes, it's a shame how I rant, but yet keep my mouth shut about Hitler and Nazis thrown at owners like I don't even know what the freak he's talking about. So I ask the community, have you ever woken up from a ranting, raving, stark, crazy, mad neighbor before 7 in the morning? That is nothing short of batshit insane. So about 7:15, I reply, first, I have no idea what you're talking about with regard to Hitler and Nazis. Like, seriously, what the heck is he talking about? Second, I don't need a misinformed lecture on patriotism. Third, the platform is YouTube, so knock yourself out. Fourth, you've completely missed the point of the video. The association traditionally, until now, has stayed away from sponsoring events other than traditional holidays, such as Mother's Day, Father's Day, Halloween, Thanksgiving, and New Year's. And lastly, your views on an already divided community due to piss-poor governance that you've remained silent on and not seem to even attempted to improve is not my fault nor problem. Then go on to say, and to somehow think your free speech rights are more important than mine reveals nothing short of a righteousness. You were emailed how rec violated our bylaws and stood by and did and said nothing. And that's something I'll get into in a future video. I go on to say, so if you want to grow up, get real, and have an adult conversation on the other side of this, fine. But do not play your pre-7 in the morning text rant this way. Get over yourself. Save that for all those online groups everyone says you shitpost on. I've never said an unkind word to or about you, and do not need to wake up to be assaulted by text, which reveals even further the slippery slope I spoke of in the video. Caveat, this video is the first time I'm starting to speak unkindly of this person. Then I write, going forward, if I make future videos, I will kindly not send you any links. In turn, I expect no communication from you, unless it's strictly about the business of the Quadomain, or getting real as a fellow human being. Other than that, I wish you well. I wish it was done right here, but unfortunately, there is a little more record to correct, because a funny thing happened on the way to the social hall during inauguration. First off, there were about 70 or so people enjoying themselves, and I'm happy for them. But there was a lot of hearsay afterward. You'd think a vet would have learned loose lips sink ships, but I guess in the height of celebration, it might be a little hard to keep one's mouth shut. There's a lot of hearsay in the room, including some bragging about how they pulled off the event there in the first place. That in fact, there was actually a lot of pushback from board members from even having the event. Almost surprising they were on the cusp of doing the right thing. But there was bragging and earshot describing how Lewis got pressed and caved. What's unknown is whether there's a horse trade for it. But there's a larger point than a rude, righteous ignoramus with his hands on surplus New Year's money, according to him, which is the dismal state of the rec board. You know, the rec board, aside from their budget meeting, hasn't had a real substantive meeting about the issues that matter most since October, more than 90 days ago. So of them, who would you really keep and keep on rec and want to be on rec? Because the plain truth is, most of them don't want to be there. That's the source of most of our problems, is rec is treated as the bastard child no one wants to be a part of. I get it, that's serious work. We're talking double duty, and that's not for everyone. In fact, it's for the few. It's time everyone gets real and take a hard look at the bios, because it is so important to all of us who you picking on the tower side. The vote ain't about popularity or charisma. There are so many head-down workhorse types that can deliver. They are usually the quieter and humble ones. You see evidence of someone playing power games here? Stop it. Do not vote them in again. And maybe, just maybe, there'll come a day where someone actually is running more for rec than a tower, because they see it, get it, and know how to do something about it. And with that said, I want to wish all my neighbors that they never, ever receive a ranting text from a fellow neighbor before 7 a.m. ever in their lives. Wishing you all a great day ahead.